Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio, where we're here to nourish our souls. I'm Norah, the host of this program, Thoughts by Joanna de Angelis and Divaldo Franco. This is the book right here, friends. As you can see, it's small, but it's very powerful. And we are in the third part of the book, which is messages all about trusting in God, which is super, super relatable, especially during these times when there is so much out there. So every message is really giving us pieces of hope for us to continue, right? And today is no different than any other day. And just as a quick reminder, the program is now Monday night. So it's a great way to begin our weeks together, and to pray and to meditate and to visualize, right, friends? So today, let us think about this for a minute. So what if the key to lasting peace isn't found in what we see, but in what we believe, right? Peace isn't just silence. It's not just the absence of conflict. True peace begins when we trust that life never ends, right? And that we are eternal beings in a temporary moment. So the message that Joanna and Divaldo say reads like this. When the belief in the immortality of the spirit is sincere, individuals undergo a profound transformation as they become enlightened by the knowledge that sets them free. So we have some keywords here, right? The belief of immortality, right? Transformation, knowledge sets us free. Those are powerful words in things that perhaps to us we feel are extremely difficult, friends. So let us start first by thinking this, right? Because when we truly believe that the soul lives on, something begins to shift, right? So suddenly we're not defined by this moment or this pain. We begin to ask deeper questions like, what am I learning? What am I healing? How is my spirit evolving, right? So the immortality of the soul is not just a concept. It's an anchor. It keeps us grounded in hope and in faith, right? So let us think about these two stories in the Bible that can really make us think, right? The first one is the man on the cross in Luke chapter 23, verses 39 to 43, right? Jesus hanging on the cross. And we have one of the men that was being crucified next to him say, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus replied, truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. So even in this final moment, right, we see the man found peace. But it's not because his suffering ended, right? Because he really was in a very difficult place, but because he trusts, right? And he trusted that life continued beyond death. Another story that we see is with Mary at the tomb, right? So in John 20, 11, 18, Mary Magdalene stood outside the empty tomb. She was weeping. She believed that all hope was lost, right? Jesus was gone. It was such a painful moment. But then Jesus appeared alive and spoke her name, and it says, Mary. She turns and recognizes him. In that moment, her grief turned into joy. Her loss turned into hope. Why? Because resurrection wasn't just about Jesus, right? But it was also about every soul's immortality, dear friends. So we see then, thinking about the Bible, in Spiritism, we take even a further step because having that sincere belief in immortality comes the word here, reincarnation. And in the Spirit's book, questions 222, right? There's a big explanation. We're not going to read it. We're going to kind of paraphrase and just kind of expand on that. The question is, what is the purpose of reincarnation, right? And in there, we're going to see, they explain to us, and we're paraphrasing about its expiation, its improvement, its progressive development of humanity. So without this, friends, where would justice be, right? So some people, and this is paraphrasing, some people reject the idea of reincarnation or immortality, right? Because They don't like the idea the spirits say, right? They say, you know what? One lifetime is enough. But the divine law isn't based on personal preference. The spirits tell us, whether we like it or not, if reincarnation exists, it unfolds according to God's justice, wisdom, not our comforts. So let us imagine someone saying, I've suffered enough today. I don't want to suffer tomorrow. It doesn't mean that tomorrow stops coming, right? Tomorrow does come here, right? And it's almost saying like if a soul needs to reincarnate to grow, the soul will reincarnate. Like just like the child has to return to school until they learn, right? We're still in the summer, but very soon everybody's going to get back, right? August is right around the corner, whether we like it or not, because I too have to, I'm a teacher at school, friends, right? We have to go back. And even if we don't want to learn one day, the student has to return the next day. So think about this in the students of life, right? Even though we think we don't want to, we do have to continue coming to the classroom of the universe until we learn. But this is not harsh. It's very hopeful, right? Think about it in the analogy of our school, right? When we expect the students to be in the classroom and want them to learn, it's not because we want to make it hard. It's quite the contrary, right? To help the student. So it's that same concept. When our beliefs in immortality are very grounded, right? Grounded in the spirituality, having that bigger picture of what it means to understand life after death and all of that, we start to feel hope, okay? Now, each lifetime, it is a divine opportunity to make things right. Okay, going back now to question 222, to do better, to rise. We can paraphrase that. So, just as a worker might joyfully labor for 1 hour, knowing that it's going to receive a lifetime of peace, wouldn't we too, or the soul, right, us find comfort knowing that this brief earthly life leads to something eternal? And that's what transforms us. So when the belief in the immortality of the spirit is sincere, individuals undergo a profound transformation, becoming enlightened by knowledge that sets them free, right? As Joanna and Divaldo state. So friends, we have examples in the Bible of how immortality is hopeful. We see in Spiritism that every lifetime, every reincarnation is transformation. It's an opportunity. So today's theme of trust is that immortality of the soul doesn't remove the struggles, but it reshapes how we face them, right? So if life continues beyond this moment, so does love. If the soul is eternal, then so is God's care. And if we are truly immortal, we can face anything because nothing is final in our evolution, dear, in our life, right? Because we have evolution, in other words, friends. So in closing, we are more than bodies. We are more than names. We are more than the world sees, friends. We are eternal travelers in the journey of God's light. So let us walk this life with a peaceful heart. Not because everything is easy, because friends, we know it's not, right? But because we know that this life is the beginning to more. So friends, today we're going to end the program with the visualization. And let us imagine as we're doing this visualization, friends, we're holding a lantern in this journey of life. Hope you enjoy the visualization with some video and music. And thank you so much for joining us here. Friends, until next week, same place, same time. And let us do the visualization together.